you accomplish all of the goals that you set out to do playing Big Brother? Like, your main one goal was you wanted to be a role model, and you wanted to tell people it's okay to be you. Do you think you accomplished that?
I really do. I think in that term, like, you know, there are a lot of things about my game that I may have changed, but in that aspect, I think I really did accomplish everything that I set out to. My message was just very much to be yourself, and, you know, the longer that you try to fit in, the longer it's going to take you to figure out who you are. And I tried my best to use my voice and vocalize, you know, what it's like to be non-binary and what my struggle was like, and talk more about gender and sexuality with people and spread awareness. And, you know, there isn't a lot of representation of people that are genderqueer, and also not a lot of people that struggle with mental health and, you know, aren't ashamed to talk about it. And so for me, it was very important to have pride in my struggle and not be ashamed, because I think that can make a difference. And
you know, you did. Like, I'm 65 years old, okay? And I learned more from you in the 2 months you were on the show than I bet you I learned in the last 10 years of my life. I figured out I have to call them pretty boys, because I've been calling them peanut butter boys, really early in the game.
yeah.
Yet, you made the decision not to rally anybody against them. Why?
I tried. I talked to Kiki and Esty, and the problem was the boys did such a good job at building connections outside of their alliance that as soon as I talked to people about it, it got straight back to them. And I couldn't let them know that I had caught on, because that would put a target on my back. So I needed to play dumb. And when I talked to the girls about it, I was like, oh yeah, Chelsea brought this up in her campaign. This seems crazy. What do you think? I tried to play dumb because I knew the second they thought that I was onto them, I'd be the next one. And so unfortunately, I tested the waters with the girls, and it got straight back to Dane. And that's when I told the girls, oh, I think Chelsea was crazy. It must not be a thing. Because I knew then they'd go straight back to Dane. Oh, don't worry, Kira doesn't think it anymore. So I needed to play dumb and give myself time to crack the foundation rather than outwardly build an army. And I was worried that with Corey, it would be the same thing as it was with the girls. I didn't want her to go to Anthony. And so I had to be very cautious. And I'm sure you saw, I went to Corey and I said, they're throwing your name under it, because I was hoping that would crack the foundation enough for her to go against them. And I had to play, I need your help, I'm so scared, I don't want them to find out, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that was playing.
I figured that.
My weaknesses become my strengths. The fact that I was emotional would let people think I was weak. And, you know, at the end of the day, the cracking of the foundation didn't work because Anthony was much closer to Dane than I realized.
Yes, that's true. Okay, now during your HOH,
yeah,
you targeted Dane at first. Well,
yeah.
First Adam and Dane, and then Dane, right?
Yeah.
So why did you allow Anthony to spray you with his finessing mist and target Mark?
So I don't know what was shown, but Anthony definitely wasn't the person behind that. How it happened, I originally put up, it was actually very hard for me to put up Adam. I loved him very dearly. I really care about Adam, but I knew I had to put up Adam beside Dane, because if Adam won the veto and took Dane off, that would be very bad for me. And as soon as I put Adam up beside Dane, Adam had that big blowout with me and exposed kind of like the cultish pride that he had in what he created. He was so proud of this legendary alliance that he made that lasted from day one, and it was beautiful. They did amazing things, and blah, blah, it's his brothers. And it became very clear to me in that moment that there was no way Adam would go against that. Adam wasn't going to bring me forward because he thought he could beat me, because Adam knew he could beat any of them. So Adam would have taken me out the next week. So I knew for a fact Mark, Anthony, and I were not strong enough to take out Adam the next week. Adam would have won the veto, and I would have gone home. So I knew I had to turn it around and keep Dane, but make Dane feel indebted to me, and keep Dane to help us go after Adam. So my one thing that Anthony did finesse me enough in was convincing that Mark was saying my name, and then it kind of like, it didn't change the fact that I wanted to keep Dane, but it definitely helped a little bit. But I was already having those ideas before Anthony and I had those conversations.
Okay.
A little bit after, but at the same time, like, I really thought that I could beat Anthony in mental comps,
Okay.
and that Dane would beat Anthony in physical comps. When Mark, I didn't think I could beat in mental comps.
Mark was
And
pretty smart.
Mark was really smart. So, but you know, I should have put up Anthony instead of Mark. And looking back, that was my biggest mistake in this whole game.
Now, you kind of answered two of my questions all rolled into one. But I'm going to ask you this. Do you think if Adam had stayed and Dane had left, Adam would have taken you to Final Two, or would he have stayed loyal to the Pretty Boys?
100% he would have stayed loyal to the Pretty Boys.
Okay.
I wouldn't have even made the top 3. I would have been gone top 4. Yeah, he would have taken me out next. He would have brought Mark and Anthony for sure. And I spoke to him about it after.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
That was his thing?
Yeah, he was very, but yeah, so it looked like Anthony convinced me to keep Dane.
Yeah. And it looked like that on the feeds too, because
But I was the one that brought it up to Anthony.
Yeah, but
He didn't bring it up
But
to
what
me.
you didn't see, like before you brought it up to him, he was on his way upstairs to bring it up to you.
But I was the one that, I was thinking it before he even brought it up. So
Yeah.
anyways, that's annoying because it was
Yeah.
my, so now everybody's going to think he finessed me when in reality it was my idea.
And who
Yeah.
were you really 100% loyal to? I was tossed up between Chelsea and Sam.
I was 100% loyal to both of them. 100%. The thing was, they could not be loyal to me for the life of them because they saw me as a liability. And so it was really hard. And I knew that they were not like having my back 100%. But I also could talk game to Chelsea in a way that I couldn't with Sam.
Yeah.
And I also knew that Chelsea maybe could realize that Adam couldn't be trusted while Sam will let her emotions block it. So honestly, going forward in the game, like I would have rather Chelsea stay. If she just learned to stop making deals with a million people, but at the end of the day, like I was 100% loyal to both of them. Definitely. And I fought my butt off to keep Sam in our house.
Yeah, I know you did. And you fought to keep Chelsea, but
Yeah.
it was a different
I wanted,
position.
yeah.
You have become known as the Finesse Miss King of BB Canada.
Yes.
Was that part of your strategy when you came into the game?
I have a way with words. I've always had a way with words. But I also have a great way of connecting to people. I've been through a lot of my life. I've had, many different groups of friends, and it's very, very, very easy for me to build relationships and friendships. So going into the house, I knew that, this is called the social experience for a reason. This is not called the comp experience. This is about, being social, and this is about lasting in the game. So I wanted to come into the game and build very strong relationships, and, if I had to do a little finessing on the way, then so be it.
You were very good at it.
Thank you.
Part of the game of Big Brother is to lie,
Yes.
backstab,
Yeah.
betray your alliance or
Yeah.
someone you're close to,
Yes.
and finesse them.
Yeah.
But to me, anyhow,
Yep.
a bigger part of it is jury management.
Yes.
I want to know why you did not use your goodbye messages
Right.
to manage the jury.
Right. So my lack of knowledge of the game contributed to why I didn't get the votes that I did at the end. I was very happy when Sam left. Sam was throwing my name the entire game. Sam tried to backdoor my closest alliance, or was one of the members that was trying to backdoor my closest alliance. And I was very happy at accomplishing that finesse, if you want to call it. I worked very hard on my relationships with the people inside of that house. One thing you have to remember is that they didn't know everything. So, there was 4 people in the house who knew everything at all times. And people can say they knew about it or they had an idea, but nobody knew and nobody could do anything about it. So the best thing you could have done inside that house is to just stay quiet, wait for an opportunity, and swing for the fence. I think that people inside the jury house really set the tone for what they wanted the others to believe. First person in the jury house was Sam. That's arguably somebody that I was going against the hardest this entire game. So then you have Corey coming in, and Corey has questions, and what's your perspective and whatever. And obviously Sam was the best well, the second best manipulator in the game, Sam controlled Adam and Kira even after she was evicted. That is power. And that's why, and I knew it was going to be like that. That's why the day before Sam was evicted, I told her, you are one of the best manipulators I've ever seen. If you made it to Final 2, if you would have made it to Final 2, you would have had my vote.
Goodbye messages.
Yeah.
Both Adam and Dane
Yeah.
use their goodbye messages
Yeah.
to tell each person that was evicted about the Pretty Boys, and they're taking it. But yet you didn't. Like you did not own any of it.
No.
Do you think if you had it, that would have helped you?
I do think that would have helped me, but I was under the impression that we were riding this out, and it wasn't until late in the game that I really started to see members of the Pretty Boys becoming disloyal, saying disloyal things, acting in a very disloyal way. And it's like, I fought for you the entire game. How are you even having these conversations about me? While you're blowing bubbles in people's mouths and you're cooking somebody breakfast, lunch, and dinner and only focusing on building a love, why am I working so hard for you? And then after that, you're going and throwing out my name? No. I was very hurt when it happened to Adam, when we had to have that conversation. But Adam also sent away Corey after we also had a meeting about it, saying Corey was going to stay because Corey was for the boys. And they went against that. They went against somebody who I was very close with, and that hurt. So in turn, I had to do what I had to do. But I wasn't going to go and snitch out what was going on with the Pretty Boys just for jury votes. I thought the jury knew a little bit more of what was happening, and as each member of the jury went into the house, I figured they would share their information. I didn't know that they were sharing, I forgot that they were sharing only their perspective of what was going on, and they didn't really know.
Do you think you went too far at any time in your game with your ability to manipulate the other house guests?
No. I think there was maybe a couple unnecessary moves, but at the same time, I had to fight for my brothers. At no point in time did I feel like I was going on the block. At no point in time was I, really fearful of my stay inside of the house. So when you think about that, think about it like this, for example. If at any point in time I won HOH, well, now it's my time to get blood on my hands. I would have to put up two people who I feel basically comfortable with. I never had that opportunity. So when you're in that position, you can't think about yourself. You got to worry about the people who are fighting for you. You got to worry about your alliance members. When somebody would say a name to me, for example, Mackie. I loved Mackie. Mackie is a great person. He's good in comms. He's very social. And Mackie, the first thing Mackie said to me was, we got to get out this Adam guy. And right away it was, red lights, started flashing, and I was like, man, this guy is going to be a problem, but I can finesse Mackie. I could bring Mackie on board, and then all of a sudden Mackie's telling me he threw my name out, he threw Dane's name out, and it's just like, well, this is just getting too far now. So
Mackie threw everybody's name out.
Yeah, so it's like he didn't understand the game, but it comes to a point where you can't really regret the decisions that you made. You made them because I was very aware at all times what was going on in the house. I knew about all the alliances. I knew about the West Coast. I knew about the Kiki and SD. I knew everybody's position in the house, and I worked that way when I made all of my decisions.
Okay, now do you think because you didn't know the game that well and didn't know that part of the game was jury management,
right,
do you think that made any of the jury members bitter or sour against you, or did they get it right and vote for the best player?
This is no disrespect to the Prince of Kelowna. He played the best overall game. Now, when you think about the jury members, because that's the second part of this game, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the jury members, you have to remember, I just backdoored Sam. I came up with a plan, I organized conversations, I finessed minds, and I got the job done. I also created a final 3 off of that to keep Corey into the house. That's 2 birds with 1 stone. I did that because I knew that keeping Corey in the house would be good for the Pretty Boys, and eventually down the line would have been a great asset to me. Now, the members of the jury, they're in the jury house because of a couple of reasons. A, they were blindsided. B, somebody went against them who was closer to somebody else. or C, they just really had no idea what was going on in the house. And you know, when you have all these different perspectives, it's very easy for more salty people to come into the house who think they know what they're talking about to confirm certain things. A lot of these people in the jury house are trying to save face as well, right? You go into the jury house, you know, Corey went into the jury house right after Sam, and it's like, okay, well, I got you up. Well, let's get to the bottom of this. What happened when? What happened what? But Corey had no idea that I used Dane, and I executed that back door. Neither did Sam. So you have two people who are arguing, trying to figure out what's going on, and they have no idea. Then, you know, you have Damien and Esty coming in. Then Mark's upset because, you know, I didn't keep him and he thought I was loyal. Mark the entire season was talking about how Kevin Martin was his favorite player. Mark looked at me, there was one day where we were talking about, yeah, we're all gonna be going on a vacation after, it's gonna be beautiful, all of us friends, yada, yada, yada. Mark literally said, I'm disappearing. I'm not gonna be friends with any of you. I'm here to play a game. The point is to get to the finals, and you gotta cut off your favorite players and people that you're close with. I'm not gonna be friends with any of you guys, I'm just gonna disappear. Whoa, noted.
Yeah, that was said in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything until later on in the season, but I stored that. Yeah. Part of Big Brother is hearing things, accepting them, and using them later on. So
yeah, when you need them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, who were you 100% loyal to?
I was 100% loyal to Corey. Corey was my rock inside that house. We connected. You know, there's two different aspects to the house. There's a personal relationship and there's a game relationship. If both go side and side, man, you got something special. Corey is an amazing person, definitely a good friend of mine. You know, and I really, really, really wanted to go far in the game with Corey, and I tried my absolute hardest. But everyone in the house wanted Corey out. That's why I don't even know how they even managed to get the word around without it getting back to me, which it did, by the way. Kira slipped up, but I don't understand how they could have even made that plan, told everybody that if somebody takes himself down, then Corey's going home. So, you know, after hearing that, I definitely realized, okay, well, you know, I had to sit down, well, who knew about this? If this person knew about this, then that person knew about this. Oh, really? So Esty knew about it and Kiki knew about it? Well, then Damien knew about it. Well, Damien's super close to Corey, so, you know, I kind of started to finesse things and set things up, you know, the way I really wanted to. And honestly, if it wasn't for the secret assassin, Corey would have stayed in that house. I worked very, very hard to build the relationships for Corey. Corey's not hard to get along with, but watching Corey work out and seeing Corey compete in the comps was scaring everybody. You could see the fear in their eyes, and even though they felt good with Corey, they felt better with other people. So keeping Corey in the house was very, very difficult. If it wasn't for me, they would have taken a shot at Corey much earlier.
Your mission as part of the Pretty Boys was to get close to Esty and Damien, to get intel and deflect targets off the Pretty Boys. Yet, you seem to plot with Esty and Damien to target some of the Pretty Boys. And you never brought 100% of the intel back to the Pretty Boys. So where did your loyalty lie?
My loyalty lied with the Pretty Boys since day one. You know, I didn't want to, you know, Adam wears his heart on his sleeve, so if I told him anything that anyone was saying about him, he would have just blown my cover with the other two, and then blown our cover. It was hard to not bring all the information to the table with the guys. However, I was trying to protect myself and the Pretty Boys. As it goes for Esty and Damien, honestly, if it wasn't for the Pretty Boys, I would have worked with them 100%. I gave them 99% loyalty. However, it was hard to go against my word with the guys. I love those two dearly, but I knew in this game you had to reach out and try to cover your base as much as you possibly could. Like I said, I had probably 6 to 7 people throughout the entire season working for me, and I never felt threatened. But my entire loyalty, 100% trust went with the 3 boys.
Okay, now, you said you're a super fan. What BB alumni did your strategy follow the closest?
It was tough. You know, in Canada, maybe not his strategy, but my favorite player was John. You know, cutting Netta at the last second there is kind of what I did with Adam. It was really tough. It was really heart-wrenching. I didn't want to do it, but I knew if I was going to be the winner, I would have to get rid of him. Other than that, from there's Dan Gleasing. He did his funeral. I kind of did that with my week top 5 there when I thought I was going home. I played on the emotional side of people, and I made them think I was really upset that I was leaving, and they kind of felt bad for me, and they kept me around, which was a mistake on their part.
On the feeds, out of all the pretty boys, and I'm sorry, I've been calling you Peanut Butter Boys for 60 days.
No, it's okay. Yeah, no, I know.
Which is why I'm stuttering every time.
No, it's all good.
But it's like
We've heard all the nicknames now, yeah.
You seem closer to Adam.
Yeah.
Yet you plotted against him at Final Four.
Yep.
Okay, as a fan, do you know how many super fans you disappointed not bringing Adam to the final? Because we all wanted to see a nail-biting finish.
Right. 100%. When you get in that house, like I said, I came into this house wanting to win. I didn't want to come second. I didn't want to come third. Adam did a lot for me in this game. I did a lot for Adam in this game. And, when it came time to that point, Anthony also wanted him gone. Kira wanted him gone. And I wasn't going to fend for him and give myself up for my chance to win. If I would have kept Adam over Anthony or Kira, I know my time to get to the final 2 would be much more difficult because he was a very strong competitor. He probably would have won the final HOH, and let's just say he didn't bring me because he was scared the votes would be too close.
It is what it is.
He came up, so in my opinion, it was Adam and Sam until Sam left. After Sam left, he approached me with a final 2 deal. Little did they know that me and Anthony had a final 2 deal since day 2. So if he would have approached me right away with it, I would have been more accepting to it. But as soon as Sam left, he came crawling to me, which I didn't appreciate. Because I knew if Sam was still, he even told me after the show that if Sam was still in the house, he would have taken her over the pretty boys. So, it broke my heart to do what I had to do, but in saying that, if I didn't do it, he would have done it to me, right?
How important was the jury management in your strike?
Very important. I mean, it was more important for me to get to final 2, but I knew this game all comes down to the 7 votes at the end. I didn't want to piss off too many people going into the jury votes. I knew that regards to my other 2 house guests that were in the final 3, that they pissed off a lot more people than I did. I came close with Essie and Damien. I built a relationship since day 1 with them. Yeah, I probably hurt them when I cut them. However, they're not gonna forget what I did for them to get them to that point. They didn't win any comps. I did. I did have their backs. I wanted to bring Essie and Damien as far as possible, but there was gonna come a point where I had to cut them. Sam told me that she's a super fan, and she said that you're playing the best game. Your vote, I'll give you my vote unless Adam's sitting beside you. So that kind of weighed in my decision as well. The only vote I was really worried about was with Corey. Corey, I went against her, and she was ride or die with Anthony. However, Anthony did her dirty as well, and I guess he didn't finesse her as much as he thought. So I think I played an overall great social game. I made people fall in love with this toothless smile and put on some West Coast charm.
Yeah, and my next question you kind of alluded to now. How shocked were you when Corey gave you your vote?
I was shocked with 2 votes. That was Corey and Kira. Corey respects a very good game, and in my opinion, I played one of the best games this season next to Adam as well. However, Adam wasn't in the final. Anthony did his work by talking. Yeah, he did touch the block. However, the pretty boys were in power 8 out of 12 HOHs. He did not even need to worry about touching the block. I was definitely shocked with Corey, but she came up to me after the game and said, overall, your mental game, your physical game, and your social game, and your strategy all just was overall way better than anyone else in the house. So I appreciate her vote. And Kira, I knew they were going to be a little bit hurt when I cut them at the end there. However, they also came up to me and said if they would have won the final HOH, they would have cut me. So, I mean, it's the way she goes, yeah.
Okay, who were you most loyal to?
That's my man, Anthony. You guys might not have seen, no one really expected it. We wanted to keep that hidden. We knew the pretty boys were going to get exposed. And everyone saw me and Adam working together. And I was very loyal to Adam, but again, him and Sam were working very closely together, and I felt like I was the third wheel in that relationship. No one expected me and Anthony to be working so closely together. We decided a lot of things together. He had Corey, so everyone expected him and Corey to be working together, and everyone saw me and Essie be working together. Like I said, no one expected the Doug and Dane show. Everyone expected, all the other side alliances, and when they found out about the Pretty Boys, they thought Dane and Adam, which they were totally wrong. It was always about Doug and Dane.